for our new Sciencemancy, first come, first serve. So we're going with botany. And the question is, why does North America have more invasives than anyone else? And also, how did Darwin, of course, see this coming? I'm Lex Pelger, I explain science, and in that last thread, it's a list of topics you can request a Sciencemancy on. So for this topic, here is the feature article you can look up and read, and then here is the original peer-reviewed research on which it is based. And so, what they did here was a gigantic survey of all of the plants on the planet. And they looked at 843 non-overlapping regions around the world. This was a giant study. They've done this for other things like large mammals and bryophytes, which are non-vascular plants. They've done it for birds, but they've never done this for vascular plants. And so in these 843 non-overlapping regions, their database included 13,000 plant species that were naturalized, which actually is the nice name for invasive. And that is 3.9% of the world's currently known vascular flora. So pretty much 4% of the vascular plants in the world have become invasive somewhere else. So one of the most striking things they found in this study, where they took in tons of data from tons of different databases, this kind of science is not easy. They found that North America has the largest number of naturalized species of vascular plants, 5,958, while Europe wasn't too far behind with 4,000. But in North America, these non-native species accounted for about 50% of the 120 most widely distributed plant species. So in North America, they've taken over, or at least half of all of the vascular plants. Meanwhile, in Europe, that had a similar number of species, they only had 2.1% of those invasives be in the top plants that have spread. Why is that? Well, the clue is when you look at the Pacific Islands are the ones that have the most number of invasive species. And so you probably start to see where this is going. It is the size of the landmass. And when they look at the history of the evolution of this stuff, all of those plants in Eurasia are used to invasive species coming in from somewhere on the landmass. You can think of North America as Turtle Island. As far as continents go, it's not that big, and it doesn't have a whole bunch of other plants coming in and trying to take over. But European and Asian plants are very used to other plants coming and take over, and they're very resistant to it, which means that they have faster vegetation times. They have fast recovery following disturbances and a lower introduction intensity in the tropical regions. And this matches up to a Darwin observation from 150 years ago where he said, "I suspect that this preponderant migration from north to south is due to the greater extent of land in the north, and to the northern forms having existed in their own homes in greater number and having consequently been advanced through natural selection and competition to a higher stage of perfection or dominating power than the southern forms." So, because Eurasia has this gigantic competition pool of connected land, their plants tend to be the most hardy and the best at going and invading other places. So that's why the Eurasian plants are the ones that tend to be the best invasives around the world.